record. I'm smart. Okay, so let me say briefly that in Spanish class, if you don't learn vocab, how the hell are you going to learn to speak? As my wife was wandering around, I sort of got wishful thinking blinkers. As my wife was wandering around, she pointed out there's a very common theme, and that is that you guys don't, many of y'all don't know the foundational equations. Here's where to start your studying. And if you start this the night before the final, you are so screwed. Here are the foundations you should have. There are only 20 words that you learn in this semester. Can you imagine a language class where you learn 20 words in the semester? You guys can learn 20 words. Each word is an equation or a definition here, defined term. So we're going to go over the kinematics and dynamics foundations. This is where you need to have this in your brains. Maybe not every single one, but you need to know that it's there. You cannot rely, if all these equations just show up on your equation sheet, but you don't know that they're there, you're not double checking yourself, you're just relying on the equation sheet magically to be able to solve the problems. Well, no wonder it's so hard. Learn these. It's only 20 turns for the entire semester. And your further studies, when you're actually trying to do problems, do the practice tests going up, do past quizzes and homeworks and stuff, your studies will prove vastly more simple if you actually know the equations, the core equations. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking. Here, where's it go? Give these equations. Wait, there's one more. Tell me displacement, average velocity, acceleration, the displacement in terms of v initial final and time, the displacement in terms of v initial acceleration and time, and the final velocity squared in terms of the initial velocity, acceleration, displacement. It's the core 5 equations we practiced for a month. Ready, set, go. Oh, right, yes, time. By the way, I had some complaints in my 3 o'clock section that I'm moving too rapidly. There are 50 questions. You have an hour and a half to do the 50 questions. That averages out to 3 minutes a question. Well, these are sort of, you know them or you don't. I'm not going to give you 15 minutes just to write these lines down. But if you're taking 6 minutes to solve a problem, then you're not going to even get to all the questions on the final. So I'm going to give you something like, when we're doing exercise practice problems, I'm going to give you something like 3-ish minutes per problem. That's a way to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Am I even remotely on track for knowing these things? And yes, as I think Gina just said, let's put these in A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. You may use your neighbor, but I suggest if you want to know what you know and find out what do I need to learn in order to pass the final, then start these individually and then check them with your neighbor. Okay? Start individually, then talk to your neighbor. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to write down 6 words. No, I mean, each equation is a word. Each equation is a vocab word. In a language class, you're learning 20 words per semester. That's the analogy I gave. Write down the equations. A and D are not the same, Daisy. A, I'm asking for the definition of displacement. And D, I'm asking for the equation that allows you to calculate displacement based on these variables, and E, displacement based on those variables. A is a definition. D and E are useful formulas for calculating. Why don't we do it this way? I went over each of them in the 3 o'clock and then applied them. Let's do it this way. Here are questions that use these equations, and I want you to use the parts that you know to solve, give me a number for each of these parts. Once you've had an attempt to apply what you've stated and make sure you know what each individual letter even represents, then we'll go back and talk about them in more detail at the end. Does that sound okay? Here, let's apply this. Apply this. Oh, ABC now becomes GHI. And I'm going to give you, I don't think 9 minutes for this makes sense. These are plugins. I think five minutes makes more sense. 5 minutes. I'm pleased. A through F, a fair number of full answers. Some of them are even right. Many of them are right. Oh yeah, yeah. But I want you to show me that you can plug into what you just wrote first. Okay, so, and your account, where's this?
I
This
logged in
is
from
for,
this campus right here. Yep.
okay, so it's not just are you logged in, the cookie stored. It makes me nervous to have it dangling over the edge. There's a thing in here somewhere about your profile. So there's a difference between Safari being attached to your user and Canvas being attached to your user.
I mean, I could just sign in again if needed.
No, signing in won't do that. Well, hold on. Let's check this hypothesis. Yeah, so your Safari credentials are currently thinks it's thinks that you are your Gmail account. For God's sake, I can't speak.
Oh, I
That's
see
not
what you
it.
mean, yeah, my
That's not
personal
it.
Gmail. Huh?
Yeah. So there's a thing up here somewhere. Privacy. Oh, here's the easy way to do it. Who uses Safari, Mac Safari, to log into the Google form? You do? You do? Okay, so go to one of the people with their hands up. Yeah, let me ask also, have you ever had to re-log in Safari to a different user so that you had form permissions? Yes, but it's not that you're logged into Canvas. It's that your browser is set to that mode. And yeah, do you know how to set up the browser in Safari? I know where it is in Chrome. Great, can I have you talk to her?
I do have a separate profile for school.
There, bet dollars to donuts, that's it. And if not, ask her. Okay, 2 more minutes to solve 3 problems. Mhm.
For the last 3 we're doing it now?
Nope,
No.
I is wrong. G and H are right,
I is wrong now?
Yeah.
Okay.
but G and H are right. So apply the equation that you wrote above.
Oh.
I think you wrote the right equation. I'd have to look. You want me to scroll up? If you've got the velocity at the beginning and at the end, and time. Okay, so here's what you needed to have done to answer GHI. Displacement. You shall know, thou shalt know, that any change in any quantity is that quantity's final minus that quantity's initial value. Okay. Hey, I have a whole lot, about half of y'all got the sign wrong. Which means on average, nobody knows how to do the sign, on average. So let's think about this for a hot second. If I start with no money in my account, and then I have $100 in my account, is that a positive change or a negative change? For God's sake. Okay, so if I start with 0 and end with 100, should my change be 100 minus 0 or 0 minus 100? Final minus initial is what makes sense. If I start with $50 and end with $100, should my increase, did I increase or did I decrease? I went from 50 to 100, I got money, my change is positive. If you make up BS numbers, just silly numbers, for any example at all, this is the way the change works. Any example whatsoever, this always must be the same formula, final minus initial. So displacement is the final position minus the initial position. Another problemo was that people dropped the minus sign. Negative, 7th Street and 7th Avenue are not the same place. One is east of Central, one is west of Central. So final position